Today we're going to learn about Montezuma and his Aztec empire that lasted from 1466 to 1520. Here you see a map of the Triple Alliance territory in 1519. In the early 15th century, three city-states in the Valley of Mexico, Tenochtitlan, Texcoco, and Tlacopan, formed an alliance together. These city-states waged war across central Mexico to expand their power and wealth. Their territory is often called the Aztec Empire. This map shows the expanse of the Triple Alliance at its peak. Montezuma was the ninth king of Tenochtitlan, the city-state at the heart of the Triple Alliance. Montezuma was born around 1466 and reigned from 1502 until 1520. The Triple Alliance was at its height of its power during Montezuma's reign. Now, Tenochtitlan was one of the three allied city-states that emerged as the capital of the empire. It was located in present-day Mexico City and was home to at least 200,000 or 300,000 people, placing it among the world's largest cities at the time. Most of the residents of Tenochtitlan were commoners who farmed communal lands, served as soldiers, or worked as artisans or traders. Above them in social status were private landowners or nobles, and below the commoners were serfs who worked for the nobles. There was a small class of workers who were traveling merchants. Laws in Tenochtitlan were harsh, and the king was an absolute ruler. Tenochtitlan was also home to institutions of learning, religion, and art. On this slide, you're going to see excerpts from Mexico Tenochtitlan tribute roll that was copied around 1522 to 1530 from a pre-conquest original. Tributes were like taxes that were set up by the governments and required any city-state who they had defeated, the Triple Alliance had defeated, they had to pay these tributes. So, once they were defeated by the Triple Alliance, they were allowed to keep their local governments and cultures, but they were forced to pay very heavy tributes to the empire. In this way, the Triple Alliance can best be understood as an economic empire. In 1 year, actually, Tenochtitlan alone would receive 7 tons of corn, flour, 4 tons, of each of the beans, chia seeds, aromath grains, 2 million cotton cloaks, and countless luxury items as tribute. As you might imagine, many subjects resented the warring Triple Alliance and the heavy tributes it demanded. Here you see an illustration of a Spanish marching into Mexico, created around 1577. This is about Spanish colonization. After 25 years of colonizing the West Indies, the Spanish began to explore the Gulf Coast of Mexico. Hernán Cortés was a Spanish official in Cuba. After hearing stories of the great wealth of Mexico, he gathered a few hundred men and set sail. Once in Mexico, the Spanish heard about the wealth of Moctezuma and Tenochtitlan and wanted to conquer the city. Before reaching Tenochtitlan, Cortés and his men committed massacres in Cholula and Otumba, other cities in present-day Mexico. The locals were astonished by the deadliness of the Spanish weapons and horses, as well as by their brutality. Cortés made alliances with some of the Tenochtitlan's rivals who were unhappy paying tributes. The conquest of Tenochtitlan. So you're seeing 2 illustrations here, one of the arrival of the Spaniards and another one of a massacre on the main temple and the death of Moctezuma. It was created around 1530, so pretty quickly after the end of Montezuma's reign. So in 1519, soldiers and their native allies arrived in Tenochtitlan to demonstrate his power and wealth. Montezuma housed Cortés and his company in the palace. After 6 weeks, Cortés took Montezuma prisoner. The details of Montezuma's death are unknown, but in 1520 he died following a Spanish massacre of Mexican nobles at the main temple in Tenochtitlan. Outraged by the massacre and the death of Moctezuma, the Mexica attacked the Spanish and their native allies and forced them out of the city on June 30th, 1520. For 1 year, the Spanish cut off Tenochtitlan's supply routes and destroyed its aqueducts, causing mass famine in the city. At the same time, many Mexica died from European diseases. The Spanish returned in August of 1521 to a weakened Tenochtitlan, which they overtook by burning much of the city, killing many Mexica, and capturing the new emperor. Today we're going to examine 4 sources related to Montezuma and his palace in Tenochtitlan. So you're going to start by reading a blog post and some guiding questions. You do not want to move on to document A until you have finished the blog post. So you're going to be learning a little bit about what life was like in Tenochtitlan, but you're also going to learn what it means to evaluate a source. You're going to be looking at who wrote it, what claims the author makes. You're going to determine whether or not you believe it to be a trustworthy source, meaning can it be trusted to have reliable information. You're going to look at evidence that supports a claim, and you're going to have to figure out what claim the author is making. And then you're going to be looking at additional sources on the same topic and trying to determine who is right and what is actually true from what happened in the history of the Aztec people. So hopefully this little background information on Montezuma and the Aztec Empire will help you. And then we will in class be going over some of the documents, or if we have office hours, we'll be going over the documents during that time as well. All right, good luck.